Today, I'm going to show you the exact system to build an AI lead generation agency from zero. And by the end of this, you'll have a complete roadmap and the step-by-step process that I've used to help thousands of people build agencies over the past 8 years. Now, I need you to do something right now. Close every other tab that you have open. Grab a notepad and go make a coffee. Because 99% of people will watch this and do absolutely nothing with it. They'll absorb the information and they'll feel motivated for 20 minutes and then they'll go back to scrolling. Don't be that person. This is 2026. We are in the middle of the biggest business revolution in human history. AI is growing at 38.1% every single year. That is not normal growth. That's exponential. And right now, businesses are terrified. They are watching their competitors adopt AI, and they know if they don't do the same, they're going to be left behind. And that fear, that is your opportunity, and I'm going to show you exactly how to capitalize on it. Now, before we dive in, I'm actually going to run a competition on this video, and to enter, all we need to do is comment your why below. Why are you starting an AI lead gen agency? I want to know. And then go and follow me at Platten on Instagram and DM me the keyword start now, and I'll send you the entire Notion framework from this video that you can study in your own time. And 1 in 100 people will also win a free coaching call with a senior member of my team. Okay, let's get into it. Let me quickly paint you a picture. Imagine you're running a dental practice. You've been around for 20 years. You're comfortable, you're making good money, but then a new dentist opens up down the road and they've only been in business for 1 year. And they're using AI systems to respond to new patients in 30 seconds. They're using AI to follow up with every single person that's ever inquired in the past. They're using AI to resell to old clients. And within 6 months, that new dentist is booked solid whilst you're struggling to fill your calendar. Your 20 years of experience doesn't matter anymore. And that is the bloodbath that's coming in 2026 and beyond. And here's the beautiful part. You get to be the person who gets to save businesses from that fate. You're not selling them something that they might want, you're selling them something that they need to survive. Now, I've been in this industry since 2017. It started with SMMA, which is basically managing social media for businesses. And then it evolved into lead generation, then appointment setting, and now AI lead generation. Now, each evolution solved a problem that the previous model couldn't. And this is by far the most exciting. So what does AI lead generation actually look like in practice? Let me show you. Let's get into this. What do we actually do as an AI lead generation agency? Well, there are 4 different stages that we must understand. Each of these stages I'm going to go into in more detail as we progress through this video today. Stage 1 is generating traffic. So we're going to manage the process of generating interest for our client's product or service, regardless of what they sell and who they sell it to. Now, I'm putting run paid ads here, and I will expand on this, as this is the default setting for most people that don't have any experience in generating traffic before. It's the easiest to learn and the fastest to get results. I put all other method here because some of you may be watching this and you've got past experience offering some kind of traffic generating service. Maybe it's SEO, maybe it's email marketing. It may even be AEO, which is answer engine optimization. It's basically the AI version of SEO, ranking businesses on LLMs like ChatGPT or Claude, for example. If you do have that experience already, you can use that traffic generator. If not, paid ads is what I recommend. Now, stage 2 is actually generating leads. So whatever we're using to generate traffic, we create targeted offers that make people submit their info. And so we put some messaging out to the world. And so we simply create attractive sales messaging relating to a product or service that makes people think, oh yeah, I want that. Let me fill in my details. And then we generate a lead. Now, stage 3 is we automate appointment booking. And so we use AI systems to contact those leads 24/7. We qualify them to make sure that they're actually suitable and ready to buy. And then we book appointments straight into our client's calendar so they don't have to do that. Now, stage 4, when we get a bit more established, is we build back-end systems. And so these might be AI sales agents that take care of more of the sales process. This might be workflow automation. You will have seen AI automation all over the internet right now. So creating more detailed back-end automations or efficiency systems, ways that we can identify that the client could be more efficient on the back end of their company, unique to their specific business type. This is a more advanced stage that you would progress to once you've already signed up 10 or so clients in your niche. But again, we're going to expand on each of these. How do we charge for this? What is the pricing model? Well, we start off with monthly retainers, and this is essentially reoccurring revenue. We charge a fixed amount every single month. So when we sign up a client, our goal is just to keep them for as long as possible, so they keep paying us this monthly retainer. As a beginner, you're charging between $500 and $1,000 per month. When we don't have the experience, we don't have the proof yet. When we get more established, we'll charge between $1,000 and $10,000 per month, and advanced agencies will charge anything from $10,000 per month to $50,000 per month. That might sound unreal to believe right now, and believe me, it would have been if someone told me that in 2017 when I first started, but this was me in November of this year at my agency, Affluent Agency, £71,000 for one single month's client retainer. That is almost $100,000 that we charge for one client retainer. And we're only able to do this because we've earned the right to play the game at this level over the years in which we've been in business now. Now, this is actually based on a performance fee, and I'll put here performance fees later because many people try and start off with charging people a percentage of revenue or a pay per lead model, which is where we get paid based on how many leads we generate. I don't recommend you doing that when you're starting off. Start off with a monthly retainer, fixed fee every month, and then when you get experience and when you know what kind of results you can generate, you can introduce performance fees that then move you into these brackets where you'll make an awful lot more from every client that you sign up. Now, our value proposition is very simple. We just make our clients more money. We save them time from not having to manage marketing themselves, and we future-proof their business. We ensure that they are ready for the AI era that we are moving into, or that is upon us right now, and that they stay ahead of their competitors who are inevitably going to adopt this stuff. This is a race to adopt AI systems in the sales department, in the marketing department, in order to generate more customers and more revenue for the business. And therefore, we are not selling a service anymore. We are saving the business from the inevitable. The companies that do not adopt AI, that do not stay ahead of their newer, younger competitors who are open to using these systems, are going to fall behind. And so we need to get into the mentality that we are here to help our clients survive. And not just survive, but thrive. We want them to stay ahead and be first movers in the space that we are in right now. Now, before we get into the tactics, before I show you how to find clients and close deals, we need to talk about something that most people skip. And it's the reason why 90% of new agencies fail. We need to talk about your foundations. And I'm going to be real with you for a minute. Before I started my agency, I was in £6,000 of debt. I was working a 9 to 5 that I hated, and I'd sit in the office every single day thinking, I deserve more than this. But you know what almost stopped me from starting? My mindset, my environment, the people around me. Now, if you think that you've already got your mindset dialed, you think your environment is where it needs to be, feel free to skip ahead to where we dive into building the business. But I strongly encourage you to stick around for this next section, because it's what separates winners from losers. Let's get into personal foundations, starting with delayed gratification. Your thoughts control your reality. We are quite literally a product of our thoughts. My favorite quote in the world from Norman Vincent Peale is, change your thoughts and you change your world. I really believe that quote changed my entire perspective on reality when I first started my business. The way you think becomes the way you are. The man who thinks he can't and the man who thinks he can are both right. And so I want to give you some harsh realities about business and starting an agency that you need to cement in your head before you even think about signing clients. Success is about consistent action. It's not about overnight wins. Most people quit because they expect quick results. They think they're going to watch a video like this, come away, and within a month's time, they're going to be making 10K a month. And then they didn't get to that point because it's not possible to get to that point, or at least 0.1% of people will do that in that time frame. And they have misaligned expectations, move on to a different business model, bunny hop to some different creator, and hey, Jordan was wrong, let me go and follow this person. And they fall into this cycle where they never actually get started because their expectations are misaligned from the start, okay? Because they expect quick results. There is no such thing as a get-rich-quick scheme, okay? Quick money goes fast. The winners are those who stick it out and keep going. We have to get used to taking daily actions every single day, despite the outcome, whether it's working or whether it's not. And know that it's the repetition of those daily actions that will accumulate momentum and momentum will turn into success in the long term, but only through our repetition of those daily actions. Not these little sporadic bursts of motivations one week, and then we don't do anything the week after and move on to something else. Every single day, showing up and doing the necessary work that I'm going to run through today. We must know that rejection is data and not a personal attack. You're going to hear no far many more times than you're going to hear yes. You're going to get rejected every single day, all day, every single day. But every single no moves you a little bit closer to your first yes, because we learn what we need to tweak. We learn what we need to change. And sometimes a no doesn't have any lessons for us at all. But the majority of the time, there is a lesson inside that rejection, and we make those incremental changes that move us closer and closer to that yes. Business is not personal. It's never a personal attack. It's always a reflection of the suitability of the offer, the timing, and a little bit of luck sprinkled in there. And how do we capitalize on luck? Well, we have to just be at the right place at the right time every single day. I'm going to give you a reading list that really helped me in the early stages. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius is the philosopher behind Stoicism. Read that book. It'll really help you forge a solid mindset around delayed gratification and many other just general great philosophy in life. A Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod changed my life. It'll teach you about a great morning routine that's going to fire you up for the entire day. It's going to set you up for success. Atomic Habits by James Clear. Pretty obvious, that one. How to build habits and ingrain habits within our lives. Very important to staying consistent. And How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This is a business classic, Business 101. Cannot recommend this enough. It's going to teach you about psychology, teach you about being successful, the mindset that you need to have, all of the foundations, the personal foundations that you need to be a successful individual. Next, we have environment and support. Okay, we've all heard that we are the product of the people that we spend our most time with. We have to surround ourselves with people who want us to win, genuinely want us to win. When I first started my agency, the friendship circle that I had did not facilitate my success. I knew they were all secretly rooting for me to fail. And so I had to rebuild that circle to be able to elevate myself to their level. Audit the people that you have around you right now. Think about whether or not they genuinely want you to succeed. And moreover that, think about whether or not they are actually aspiring to achieve anything. And you might have to make some very difficult decisions. You might have friends that have been around you for years and years and years that are actually pulling you down. And you have to weigh up whether or not that friendship is actually worth the subconscious anchor that it's creating in your dedication and your commitment to actually be successful. You're trying to run forward whilst they are slowly pulling you backwards. And it's okay. You know, sometimes actually one friendship is worth that weight and we're willing to fight against that resistance, but no, it is going to make life harder for yourself. Okay, and the least resistance we have from our environment, the easier it is going to be to move forward and progress into that next stage of life, because they're not going to be second guessing us. They're not going to be asking us questions that are negative minded. They're not going to putting a pessimistic spin on every idea that you have. They will facilitate your growth. And we must create a workspace, an environment around us that makes us feel focused and positive. Like when I started my agency, I was working out of my friend's bedroom. Just had a corner of that room, but it was a clean desk and it was my space. And I had a board and it was a vision board and it had all of the things that I wanted to achieve. So I would see that and it would motivate me. You know, I had a picture of quotes and a house and a car and, you know, the girlfriend and all of that stuff that I wanted, and it would motivate me. Create an environment that facilitates our success. And finally, make sure that we actually know what we're working towards. Don't just say, I want to make $10,000 a month. This is the classic answer when I ask people, how much do you want to make? What are you working towards? I want to make 10K a month. I want to make 6 figures. Okay, why? Do you know why? Have you figured it out? Do you actually need that? You know, some people say 100K a month. Okay, great. I love the ambition, but why? Do you know why? Calculate exactly what you need. This is the lifestyle calculator. Helped me a ton in the early stages, just to get a clear understanding of what I was actually working towards. Figure out your monthly expenses in your ideal situation. How much does your dream house cost? What's the mortgage? What's the rent? Write it down. What's the dream car payment? How much are you spending on food and groceries? How much on travel? How much on gifts for family, on entertainment? What are your general bills, your savings goal? And get that total monthly amount. Know what you actually need to live the life that you actually want. You know, and when most people do this, it is way more conservative than the goal that they have set. And actually then it changes your mindset surrounding reaching that goal. And it makes it a lot easier to achieve, because actually it takes far less time to achieve that. And so you'll get so much more motivation to be consistent through all of the shit that you're going to have to go through in starting a business in order to reach that goal, because now it's much more achievable than just this broad 10K, 100K goal that you've set just because you heard someone else speak about it online. Now, once we set that monthly goal, and I recommend doing this on a spreadsheet, by the way, we want to then reverse engineer what it takes to get there. Now, you're not going to have all of the data you need in order to reverse engineer it right now, but by the end of this video, you will do, because I'm going to go through it. But what we want to do is take our monthly goal. We then want to know what our average client value is going to be. It might be $1,000, it might be $2,000, for example. How many clients do we need to sign in order to reach that goal? How many meetings do we need to have in order to reach that goal? How many outreaches do I need to send per week in order to reach that goal? Outreaches is the act of reaching out to potential customers in order to try and sell to them. What are the daily outreaches that I need to take? So we reverse engineer all the way down. So our goal might be $8,000 a month. Well, we know that we need to make 30 outreaches per day in order to hit that goal. And then this is our daily target. We obsess over that number. We write it down on a post-it note. 30 outreaches, 8,000. I'm not saying that's exactly what it is, but 8,000. We put it on a post-it note. It's on our computer. It's on the wall when we go to the toilet. And we obsess over that number. We know that the only difference between the situation we're in right now and the situation that we want to get to, our goal state, is 30 outreaches per day, and obsess over it. And if you do that, the rest of this process will be so much easier. And this is actually the missing link that most people have, which is why they fail, because they don't really know what they're working towards, and they don't really know what the daily input should be in order to hit the goal that's unique to them, not the goal that somebody else set on Instagram. All right, so quick recap. You've got your mindset, right? You've optimized your environment. We know our exact financial goal. Now let's build the actual business. This is where many people get paralyzed. They spend weeks picking the perfect niche or designing a logo or building a website before they've even spoken to a single business owner. We're not going to do that. I'm going to give you a framework that takes 1 to 2 days maximum to do all of that and get you moving very quick. So let's get into the business foundations, starting off with niche selection. So a niche is just an industry. So it's the type of business that you work with. You know, it might be a clinic business or a fitness business. It's a business industry, but niche is the term that agencies like to use. You're going to work with anyone that fits these 3 criteria when we're starting off. This is going to be a high demand industry by a large market. And so this industry works with lots and lots of people, which means it's easy to access them and there's a lot of demand for the service. So for example, clinics, for example, fitness, for example, home services, for example, professional services. This is definitely not limited to this list. I want to make this absolutely clear. In fact, I actually recorded a massive list of over 100 niches that I ranked from best to worst on this channel. We'll put a link in the description. You can go ahead and watch that. I'll put a whole bunch of links in the description after this so you can go and watch and study after this video. But do it after you watch this. Don't just blindly follow one of these. Go and watch that first. And also think about whether you have any previous experience in the industry, which makes sense for you to lean into it to start off with. We want to have a repeat custom with that industry, meaning that people come back and buy from that business again and again, meaning they have lifetime value, okay? Not just one-off purchases. Lifetime value is the amount of money someone will spend over their lifetime of being a customer in that business. If we have that, it makes it a lot easier for us to get return on investment, because it isn't just about, spending £1 and making them £2. It's about spending £1 that actually makes £60 over the course of 6 months, for example. They also want to be local to us at first. We can expand later. A massive mistake that agencies make is they try and branch out internationally, or they try and branch out nationally and go for the big cities. Don't do that. Locality is such a leverage point in the early stages, especially in the AI era that we live in. In an era where people are detached, when everybody's digital, we like to buy from people local because we can trust local, because we know that it's much less likely that someone's going to screw us over if we know they only live down the street and we probably know a bunch of other people that are connected to them somehow. So start off local and leverage locality. Speak to people and tell them that you're actually local to them, and it will be so much easier for you to sign your first 4 to 6 clients. We start off with a scattergun approach. Imagine we've got a gun, and a scattergun shoots bullets everywhere. It's like a sawn-off shotgun, okay? And what it means is we're basically going to work with anyone who fits the above criteria. We're going to get experience, and we're going to get case studies. Case studies are simply testimonials. It's our ability to say, hey, look, we got this company results, so we can prove we are who we say we are, and we can do what we say we can do. And then we specialize through our sniper later, where we just pick out very specialized niches. Now, the only instance where you should start an agency and be sniper first is if you have an unfair advantage in that niche. You've already worked in that niche for a long time. You've already generated traffic for that niche. You've got a bunch of connections in that niche. Sure, then go sniper, focus on that niche. But for the majority of you watching this right now, you're going to want to go scattergun and work with a whole bunch of different businesses. Figure out what works for you. Figure out who you enjoy working with. Figure out who you actually get good results for, and then focus in those industries. Okay, don't bottleneck yourself too soon. Now, when we have got an understanding of the businesses that we're going to reach out to, we need to then think a little bit closer. What is our ICP, our ideal customer profile? Okay, these are, well, as it sounds, the ideal customers, the profile of those ideal customers that we want to sign up. Well, they need to have between 2 and 10 employees, ideally. We don't want to be working with one-man bands. Why? Well, they're not going to be making enough money. They're going to be a pain in the ass. They'll depend on us too much. They need to be small enough to need us and big enough to pay us. $20,000 per month minimum monthly revenue, otherwise they can't really afford you. And think about this, if a company is making $20,000 a month, they might only profit 10K, they might only profit 6K. It's very unlikely that they're going to pay a brand new marketing agency with no case studies $1,000 a month to run their marketing, okay? There's a very high risk for the business. The more revenue the business makes, the lower the risk is in working with you. And so we want to work with the bigger guys. Also, ideally, a single location, meaning they're not a franchise or they have multiple locations. It's just easier to reach the business owner when we look to call up that business, or maybe even when we walk in person, we can be more confident that the business owner is actually going to be there. Now, as we go more and more up market, as we're more and more established, these parameters will increase, our ICP will evolve over time. The goal as an agency is we want to work with bigger and better clients, making more and more revenue as we progress, but we have to earn our right to play at that game. You know, my clients paying, $71,000 for a monthly service. Those are very large companies making millions on a monthly basis. I could have never signed them in the early stages. I had to earn my right through great case studies over a long period of time to be able to work with that caliber of business. Now, once we've got an idea of who we're going to work with, we have to know what we're going to offer them. So I've got an offer creation framework for you here. We're going to always sell the outcome and not the mechanics. We're going to sell the six-pack and not the sit-ups. This is a huge mistake that many agencies make, and I see ads every single day. Like, you're selling the sit-ups and not the six-pack. People want the result. They don't want all the stuff it takes to get the result. So when you're offering a service, even if it is, in your mind, a Facebook ad service where you have AI appointment setting on the back end, you don't call it a Facebook ad service. That's the mechanics, okay? That's the sit-ups. Instead, we sell the outcome of that result. So, for example, we help this niche get this specific outcome using AI systems. This is a very primitive, simple offer that will work well. Okay, this is, you could argue, a mechanic, but it's a mechanic that people don't understand. Well, what AI systems? What exactly are you going to do? We want people to ask questions. We want them to be inquisitive, because then we open up a sales conversation. Got a couple of specific examples. We help dentists get 10 to 20 Invisalign consultations per month using AI systems. We help gym owners fill their membership slots with 20 to 40 qualified trial bookings per month using AI automation. We help kitchen remodelers get high-value consultations with serious buyers, not tire kickers, using AI qualification. We want to always speak their language. Okay, dentists care about Invisalign. Gym owners care about memberships. Kitchen remodelers will care about serious buyers and not having time wasters. And so we want to have that kind of emotional trigger that lets people know we're speaking their language, but we also have that specific outcome. And then we have, this is called a unique mechanism. And so it's essentially a broad or vaguer term that we've coined in order to explain our service that sounds obvious. So it's AI qualification, it's AI automation, it's an AI system. It's something that people can easily understand, but they don't know exactly what it is yet. And so naturally, they want to book a call with us to find out exactly what it is and how it can help them achieve that specific result that we have promised them. Okay, now we know who we're working with. We know what we're going to offer them. How do we actually then build the business? So many people waste so much time on this stuff, and you absolutely shouldn't. We come up with our business name. We can use AI to brainstorm. Go on Claude, go on ChatGPT. Come up with a bunch of ideas. Keep getting it to generate until you find something that you like. Go on GoDaddy.com or Hostinger, for example, and then check that the domain name actually is available until you come up with a business. It shouldn't take you more than a couple of hours to have a business name, maximum. Then we design a simple logo to start off with. This is what I call an MVB, a minimum viable brand, because we can always rebrand later down the line. Use an AI logo generator. There are so many on Google. Just Google many free ones to generate you a logo. Create a basic website. I'm going to cover some tools later that you can use to do this, and you can use templates. We have a color scheme, 2 to 3 colors maximum. Stay consistent across all of our branding, and that is it. We move on very quickly. Don't get hung up on this. People think the success of their agency is the brand. It is not at all. The success of the agency is you. And it's the trust that you can build in the market. It's the results that you can generate. So don't overthink this. You can rebrand later, and I encourage you to rebrand later. Majority of agencies will not get their agency brand right. My first agency was Platten Enterprises. We then rebranded to Affluent.co, I believe 2 years after being established. Okay, and so don't get hung up on that. Rebrand later down the line. Okay, that's our business foundations. Let's get into actually finding clients. This is where a lot of people quit because you're going to get rejected a lot. I'm always going to tell you what you don't want to hear for free. Other people will tell you what you want to hear for money. And I'll always give you the harsh reality. It's hard being told no. You're going to call 25 people and 24 will say no. You'll send 100 emails and you'll get 2 responses. But this is a numbers game. If you understand the numbers, you realize that you're not actually failing. You're just playing the game. So, what do those numbers actually look like, and how do we find clients? Let's start off with understanding our outreach options. Again, outreach is the act of reaching out to potential customers completely cold who haven't heard of us. The first option we have is door-to-door, the act of walking in and speaking to business owners. This does have the highest conversion rate, but is the most intimidating. That might be hard to believe for some of you. How can door-to-door work? Isn't that something old that they used to do in the 60s and 70s? Yeah, it is. And no one's been doing it for the past 30 years because everyone can now hide behind the computer and send emails instead. And when everybody's doing one thing, you should do the other, okay? Also, as a side note, door-to-door, I worked in door-to-door for over a year, used door-to-door when I started my agency as well. It's brutal. It's a really brutal game, but it's going to build this thick skin within you. You'll be so resilient after doing this. Cold calling. We basically call businesses from a lead list. We generate a list of leads, we call them up, phone obviously. Again, high conversion, but it requires resilience. We're going to get rejected a ton of times. These are the hardest, but they will get you the majority of meetings. I'll give you the numbers behind this in a minute. Then we have direct messages. So we message business owners on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. This can be automated using various different tools, but you will get a lower response rate naturally. And then we have email. We send cold emails. It's fully automated. This has the lowest response. As with most things in life, the things that are the easiest to get us the worst results. The food that is the tastiest. Well, not even the tastiest. But yeah, in many cases, the food that is really tasty is the worst for us. The things that are easily accessible are just not worth having long term. Okay. And so the things that are harder are the things that actually are going to get us the result. Multi-platform is the best strategy. We want to reach out to people not just on email, DMs, cold calls, or door-to-door. When you're first starting off, spray and pray. Throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. See what works the best for you. Some people will never check their emails. Some will never answer the phone. Some will only respond to DMs. If you're trying to reach out to 5 different friends, you wouldn't all just try and call every single friend. You've got a bunch of friends that will never ever pick up the phone. You're going to send them a WhatsApp. You're going to send them an iMessage. And so follow that same mindset when you're reaching out to strangers. Reach out to them in a multitude of different ways to see what actually works. So what is the math behind this? Well, in cold calls, we make 25 dials to get 1 meeting booked on average. I've worked with thousands upon thousands of agencies across various different high-ticket programs over the past 8 years. This is real data taken from that coaching. 25 dials to get 1 meeting booked. You get a 4% conversion rate on average. With email or DM, it's between 500 and 100 emails or DMs to get 1 meeting booked. It's a 1 to 2% conversion rate. In some niches with email, it might even take you up to 500 emails to get 1 meeting booked. It depends on what industry you're reaching out to and how heavily they are hit by email. So online industries, coaches, consultants, info products, e-commerce software companies, you're actually probably going to have to send 500 plus emails in order to get a response. Or meeting booked, rather. Door-to-door is 10 to 15 doors to get one meeting booked. So you see, it's far less touch points to get one meeting booked, and that's a 7 to 10% conversion rate. And then when it comes to signing a client, 5 meetings booked is 3 meetings attended. Not everybody who books a meeting with you is going to show up. Some people just say yes when they don't have the confidence to say no. A 60% show up rate on average. 3 meetings attended is 1 client signed in the early stages. That's a 30% close rate because you won't close everyone. And if you want to move faster, we just increase our output. So use this maths in conjunction to that lifestyle calculator we came up with. You can now fill in this information based on that monthly goal that you have set. Reverse engineer this goal to set that daily outreach target. The only thing that is missing from here is the time frame in which you want to achieve it. Okay, because we need to obviously, we need to take time frame into this. If we want to achieve it in 6 months, great, then we have our daily outreach target over 6 months. I would recommend just setting the goal for 3 months. It's a really nice time frame to set for anyone who wants to make anything from 10K or below on a monthly basis on reoccurring revenue. So those are the numbers. We know what we're dealing with. How are we going to generate leads, a big list of leads that we're actually going to reach out to? How do we build our list? So we want to collect the business name, we want to have the owner's name, the phone number, email, address, website, and social media. Okay, address can just be the location, it doesn't have to be the full address. We always need to make sure we have the owner's name. Don't bother reaching out to companies if you don't have the business owner's name. Reach out to them and say, hey, can I speak to the owner, please? It's not going to work. It's going to be lazy. It needs to be high effort. And I am going to give you an example of exactly how you reach out to these people in a moment. You'll notice that it is kind of all based around finding the owner's details. How do we do that? We start off with our network. Okay, post on Facebook. Let people know candidly, hey, I'm starting an AI lead generation agency and I'm looking for 3 businesses within my network that we can start off with our first clients. I'm going to offer them a heavy discount. If you know anyone, please do let me know. Comment down below or reach out to me. Ask for introductions. You'll be surprised at how many business owners you have in your area. Then we can also use manual Google scraping. This is best for if you have no money whatsoever. It's free for beginners. Go over to Google, clinics in London, and then just go through the websites, click on the About page, find the business owner's details. If you're from the UK, you can go on Company's House and find the business owner's details there. If you're from any country, really, I'd recommend searching like Canada Business Directory, and you'll see many companies have an open directory where you can find the business owner's name. And now we get onto the automated tools if you want to spend a bit of money. Phantom Buster is great for scraping Instagram, for scraping Google Maps, for scraping all sorts of different websites, for searching industry directories, for example. Clay.com is my favorite lead generation tool. It's completely automated. It is best for scaling. So at mass generating a whole bunch of leads, it uses a whole bunch of APIs on the back end. Apollo is a lead database. Again, it's best for B2B, this one. Apollo is a great lead database. But for the majority of you guys, if you've got any kind of money to spend, Clay.com is what I'd recommend. I'd start off there. The goal is to generate 200 to 500 leads before you start outreach. Why? Well, we don't want to get into a place where we're reaching out to people and then we're running out of leads and now we have to go back to lead generation. It breaks our flow. It's inefficient. Get at least 200 leads before we start reaching out to companies. Now, once we do have that lead list, how are we going to reach out to them? I'm going to give you an example through cold calling because it's the outreach method that I recommend for the vast majority of people. It is intimidating. Some of you will think, oh, I don't want to pick up the phone. But the reason you do cold calling over email or DMs and you spend the majority of your time then you master that, okay, it's very simple. It's not just because you're only going to spend 2 hours to get a meeting booked. That should be enough motivation as it is. But it's actually because the majority of people are not prepared yet for the rejection that they're going to face in business. And they don't have enough resilience in life in order to actually be successful long term. Cold calling will teach you resilience like nothing else. Same with door to door. Those things will teach you so much resilience. And that is why I love new start agency owners using cold calling as a method to get clients, because it's going to give you so much more than just money in the bank. But you can use the strategy that I'm going to run through right now, and you can apply it to door-to-door, you can apply it to DMs, you can apply it to email, you can apply it to anything else. The psychology and the script will just, the psychology stays the same, the script will just need just adapting for that format. So the first thing is we have to get past the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper is the receptionist or the person that's standing in between you and the business owner. We have to assume familiarity. And so when we speak to them, we don't say, hey, is John Smith around? Sound like a salesman. We say, hey, is John in? Hey, can you pop me through to John? We speak to them as if we are calling up to speak to our friend. Imagine you're calling up a company, your friend owns the business, and you just want to get through to, hey, is James about? That's the tonality that we're going for here. Okay, and what we're trying to do is just hack from a psychology perspective, so the gatekeeper just thinks, oh, I'll just put you through. They don't have their guard up because they're not feeling like, oh, intruder, salesperson. Hey, is John in? Oh, you must know John. Let me put him through to John. Okay, now, if the gatekeeper does give you some objections, what's this regarding? You can say something like, look, it's a bit too much to go through right now. John knows what it's about. We stay vague. We don't give information. We don't want to be selling to the gatekeeper. If they say, can I take a message? You say, I appreciate that, but I actually really need to speak to him directly. Is there a better time to reach him? When's he back in? Today? And we just want to get information. We want to build some rapport. We want to be persistent. We want to get their name, okay? The gatekeeper's name, that is. Write that name down and use it every time. Build a relationship with them. I remember in my first cold calling job, I was making 150 cold calls a day. I got hold through resilience. 3 months, I was trying to reach out to the CEO of Universal Studios in the Middle East, or the managing director in the Middle East. 3 months it took me to get hold of him through speaking to the gatekeeper. Eventually, the thing that worked to get him past was I said, hey, Sandra, look, I don't remember her name. Sandra, let's say. And you can check out my LinkedIn, by the way, to see a testimonial from these guys on my LinkedIn. Sandra, look, I'm going to be real with you. You know me. I call up basically every other day and have done for the past couple of months. I only need 15 minutes of John's time. Can you facilitate that for me? Because I'm going to keep calling you up every day until I get hold of John. I'm not here to waste time. You know what it's regarding. Let's just have this conversation. And it dropped this guard. And it facilitated her or allowed her to just think, you know what? Jordan's going to keep calling back. It doesn't seem like a danger. I've actually built quite a rapport. I actually quite like this guy. Let me just give him that call. I spoke to John, let's say John, and he flew me out to Dubai when they were building Universal Studios in Dubai, and I hosted a physical interview with this guy and actually built a really great relationship with him through persistence of reaching out over months and building a relationship with the gatekeeper. Okay, so when we get past the gatekeeper, what do? This is the outreach script. This is an example. We book a meeting. We do not pitch and we do not sell. The cold call, the door-to-door. If someone says to us, hey, just tell me what it's about right now. Just give me the information. Don't do it. You're not there to sell. You're not in the right environment. You are not prepared. This is the 5-part script. We start off by diffusing. We say, hey, John, I know you're busy, so I'm going to be quick. We diffuse them. We call out the elephant in the room. They're thinking, oh, God, how can I get rid of this person? I know you're busy, so I'm going to be quick. Okay, fine. I'm diffused. Then we give them a curiosity hook, okay? Or otherwise known as an attention hook. You will have heard me refer to it as this. An attention hook is simply a statement or a question that demands attention. So we might say something like, can you handle 5 more claim cases right now? If we're speaking to a law firm, for example, make sure we're speaking their language. Are you using any of the AI systems that law firms are using to get more cases yet? This is one I love that's working so well in our community at the moment with AI lead generation agencies. Are you using any of the AI systems that law firms are using to get more cases yet? Or no, I'm not. What AI systems are those? We can have some optional scarcity. Now, when we're more established, this will work really, really well for you. We only work with one law firm in each area, and we're looking for one partner in Manchester. And I'm due to speak with, John's law and James's law. But honestly, John, you would be my preference. And so we mentioned a couple of competitors, which makes them think, well, I don't want him to work with them. And we say, I'm only working with one, and I want to work with one in Manchester. Now, especially with AI, this works exceptionally well because people are afraid of their AI-powered competitors, and they want to be the only one that you're going to work with, especially if you name competitors, because now they're picturing what happens if they say no to you and you say yes to one of their competitors. We then go through our elevator pitch. So if they sound interested in any way, then we say a very simple statement, which just affirms what we do and who we do it for, and we don't elaborate too much. I help law firms get more high-value cases through an AI system we built. Typically, they get between 5 and 10 new cases per month in the early stages. And we say nothing else, And what we then do is we then book the meeting. Are you free for a quick 25-minute call tomorrow at 10 a.m.? This is always the goal. If they start asking too many questions about the same, say, look, that's a really great question. Actually, what I'd love to do is just sit down with you for 25 minutes. Are you free tomorrow? How's 9 a.m.? We book in that meeting with them. A couple of objection handles. I'm not interested. Or say, can I ask, is it because you're fully booked or you're just not looking to grow? We need to understand that, okay? Are they actually just really busy? And if they're too busy, you could say, well, are you interested in expanding the business? And if they're not, then that's fine. Don't try and sell to someone that isn't actually suitable for the service. There's no point in doing that. Can you send me an email? Can you send me information? Honestly, I don't think that's a valuable use of either of our time. Why don't we book in a quick 15 minutes tomorrow and I can share everything with you in detail then. Okay, we don't want to get into sending emails. When you send an email, it's just like, most of the time people are saying, can you send an email? Because they're too afraid to say no, they don't have the confidence. And so just say, I don't think it's a valuable use of our time. Why don't I just spend 25 minutes with you and I can get this over to you then? We can speak about it in person, or we can speak about it on a call. How much does it cost? Well, it ranges between $500 and $3,000 depending on your specific situation. I can't give you that now because I don't know your situation. And it also depends on how fast you want to grow. Why don't we jump on a quick call and we can go through specifics. So if someone does ask how much it costs, just give them a very broad spectrum, a small amount and a large amount, and say it depends on your situation and how fast you want to grow. Why don't we book in a call and we can talk about it? And it's the same structure for email, same structure for DMs, and I will put dedicated videos in the description where I go through email strategy, where I go through DMs. You can go and study them after this. And just as a side note for you, it popped up in my mind whilst I was saying that, you're not just constrained to hosting meetings on video, Zoom, or Google Meet. If you are reaching out to local businesses, go and see them in person. Your close rate will be significantly better if you close people in person, because we've got our body language, we've got our presence. It immediately creates more trust. Okay, so whilst you have the opportunity to have in-person meetings, do them. Please. Don't burn opportunities just by having video. No one wants to be sat behind a video meeting. They're there behind video meetings all day long. If they have the opportunity to see someone, for you to actually go and visit the business, they're always going to say yes to that. You're going to get a higher meeting book rate on your outreach. You're also going to get a higher close rate when you're actually there. Talking of closing, what is the meeting strategy that we're going to use? We use the CPS meeting strategy, which is the conversational problem-solving strategy, as I called it. This is not pressure sales. I learned this the hard way. In my first meeting, it was with a lady called Jane, who owned a restaurant called the Library Restaurant in my city, in person. I was there. This ex-salesperson, I say ex-sales, just come out of a sales job, using all these tactics, pressure sales almost. And I was thinking, like, what am I doing here? Like, this is, she went to make a coffee. She just wasn't into it. And I realized that this was a conversational problem-solving exercise. It was me, one human, speaking to another human, and I'm there to try and solve her problems. And so I just took it right back, and I just had this genuine conversation with her. I'm going to keep this from a high level, because I do have a full breakdown and a full CPS video, a dedicated video. It's about an hour long, where I go through this entire meeting strategy in detail, but I'm going to give you the framework right now. 4 parts. The first part is attention. We build rapport. So we just talk about, us Brits like to talk about the weather. We can talk about where they're from. We can talk about something we're seeing on their social media. We frame the meeting by explaining how it's going to go. We say, okay, so first of all, the way this meeting is going to go is I'm going to start by asking you some questions. I'm going to find out what is working at the moment, what isn't, and maybe some of the AI systems that you've already tried. And if I find out that there is a fit and I can help you grow your company, and only if then I'll make you an offer and you can decide on whether or not you want to work with me. Does that sound fair, John? And so we frame the meeting, we control it, they know exactly what to expect now and their guard is going to be dropped. And we then get them to explain why they took the meeting. After we've done that, we say, well, so let's start off with why you said yes to jumping on a call with me. Find out their motivation. They'll normally just splurge it all out and they'll let you know exactly what their motivations are, or they'll start, brain dumping about the fact that they've, tried to run Facebook ads before, they worked with an agency, it didn't work for XYZ reason. That's exactly what we want, because what we're trying to do is move on to stage 2, which is identify. We find out their current situation, we find out their desired situation, and then we know and have to get their need for help. Current situation, we absolutely need to know their revenue. So how much are you making a month at the moment? And then what is your goal? What are you working towards? Some people, if you're just starting off, you don't feel comfortable talking money. That's okay. You can do this in reverse. Say, what are you working towards? What is your monthly revenue goal? Okay. What's your big, hairy ass goal right now? Well, I want to make, 100K per month. Great. How close are you to that right now? And so it's an easy way to reverse that script. And it, again, drops that guard. We want to understand what they've tried to get to that point already, how long they've been trying. And we need to get them to admit that they need help. Okay, they can't do it themselves. They've already worked with another agency. They've already tried XYZ themselves. They don't have the time to do it themselves. We're digging for pain, and we are gathering ammunition for the close. It's very important that we have a deep identification stage. Okay, and don't be afraid to really sit in pain with people. Don't think about what you want to say next, like you're just reading through this question list. Genuinely want to help them. The more established you get, the less and less you need the client, the better you're going to get at building rapport with them. When you speak to them, actually really genuinely try to care. And that is hard. that sounds a really strange thing to say. Like, you try to care about the clients you work with. Most of you only care about yourselves. Most of you, and most humans, only care about the money that they make in their current situation. When we get more and more established as a business, we really start to experience the change and the transformation that we can create in our clients. You really genuinely start to care about these people. And so that's when you master the identification stage. So the majority of the close is done in this. It's not done in the presentation. It's not done in the close itself. The majority of the sale is done in the identification stage through demonstrating that we genuinely care and we're a trusting individual who understands their situation better than they understand it themselves. And when we've identified that, we move into solve. We present our solution. We're beautifully vague. So we summarize where they're at. Look, I understand where you're at, Sarah. Sarah, you're making 10K a month, you want to get to 100K. You've already worked with a couple of agencies on Facebook ads. You've done it for 6 months. You were never getting the result. You were tired of bad communication. You tried to do it yourself and that wasn't working either. And we know that, John's restaurant down the road has already started using AI systems. Would you like me to run you through how we can keep you ahead of the game, how we can get you to 100K per month? Yes, I would. Okay, great. Well, I help restaurants just like yours fill their seats Monday to Friday. Not just on the weekend, but Monday to Friday. And we do that through a custom AI booking system that we built. We say nothing else. Okay? That's an example of an elevator pitch. There are so many different elevator pitches you can use depending on your service. We say nothing else. Okay, we don't over-explain. We let them ask questions. Okay, how does that work? Okay, what are you actually doing? What results can I expect? How much does it cost? We let them ask questions. We answer only what they ask. We don't over-explain. We create desire and curiosity until the only question that they have left to give us is, how much does it cost? We don't go through a pre-created presentation. A big mistake people make, they create a presentation and they follow this presentation. They're really rigid. No, you've got people in a really fluid state here where we're talking to them personally and so on. And then we want to keep them in that fluid state by just having a conversation with them. And then we move into that. We state our price. They say how much it costs. This is how much it costs. So the cost for our AI booking system is $2,000 per month plus $2,000 on ad spend. And then we stay dead. We don't say anything else. The first person to speak after we say the price is the one who loses. If we speak after we say the price, it shows a lack of confidence, a lack of conviction in the meeting itself. Okay, so don't do that. Let it sit with them, no matter how long it takes. Okay, if it's 2 minutes, then we handle their objections. And we secure the payment and we book an onboarding call with them. Okay, again, on this CPS training video, I do go through how you can handle much more in depth on objection handling and so on and so forth in there. So go and look at that. An objection is not a rejection, it's just a request for more information. You will get objections, that is perfectly okay. The majority of clients we sign do give us some kind of objection before they eventually say yes, we get the payment. And then we book the onboarding call, okay? What is onboarding call? We're going to come into that. But a quick recap before we do. We understand the 4 outreach methods. We've got door-to-door. We've got cold calling. We've got DMs and email. We know the numbers. 25 dials on cold calls gets us 1 meeting booked. 5 meetings gets us 3 attended. 3 attended gets us 1 client at a 30% close rate. We've got our list of 200 to 500 businesses. You know how to get past gatekeepers by assuming familiarity. You've got the 5-part outreach script and you understand from a high-level perspective the CPS sales framework. Now, let's talk about what happens after you sign the client. Actually delivering results and getting them incredible outcomes. Because you can be the best salesperson in the world, but if you can't deliver results, you will lose every client within 30 days. And then you're back to square one. I'm not going to teach you the full how here, by the way. I've got a massive dedicated video, hour-long, an AI lead generation service delivery that goes deep into each of these steps. Again, the link will be in the description with the others. And watch it after this, not now. But here's what you need to know from a high-level perspective. This is how we deliver results. First of all, we'll start off with the delivery timeline. Many people ask me, what actually happens when I sign a client? I know I've got to run some ads, plug in an AI appointment setting, but what is the timeline? What does it actually look like? Well, week 1 is onboarding and setup. An onboarding call, as it sounds, is the act of bringing someone on board as a client. They start off as a lead. Now then they're a prospect, which means they're like a prospective client. They're interested, and now they're an actual client. We bring them on board. And so this is all about setting expectations and making sure they understand the path ahead and how it's going to work. We ask them questions so we can understand their situation. We can understand their competitors, what they've tried in the past, and we gather that information and we use it in creating our first strategy. We get access to everything, and this is going to be like access to their Facebook ad account, or we create an ad account. We get access to their Facebook page, their Instagram page, and anything else. And then we build the initial assets. We use all of that information to build the initial strategy. Okay, these are going to be the first ads that we're going to launch, and this is going to be the offer that we are going to run. Week 2 is we go ahead and we launch that. Okay, so ads go live. We jump on a kickoff call with the client. We say, hey, are you happy with this? We get their final approval on that first round. AI starts contacting the leads that we've generated in the early stages. We'll be generating leads from like day 1, day 2. AI needs to be plugged in to start contacting those leads. We then have the first appointment booked using that AI system. And again, I dive deep into that AI system on that service delivery video. You can go and watch that. I don't want to get nitty into service delivery right now because I've already covered it in detail. And so we start booking our first appointments. The client is happy because we're getting our initial results. Weeks 3 to 4, we start optimizing. We analyze the data. We find out what is working and what is not working. Okay, and we adjust the strategy in respect to that. Okay, so we spend more money on the things that are working. We kill the things that aren't working, and we create more ads that are aligned with the ones, the top performers. And then as we come into month 2 and onwards, we start scaling. We increase the ad spend based on winning campaigns, of course, getting permission from the client that we can do that. We start looking at back-end systems. If there are other automations that we can create, we start thinking about, is there something else that I can create to help the business further, make them more efficient, make it more seamless in this process. Get tunnel vision, focus on the task at hand, on what you're trying to achieve now. Don't get distracted by looking too far out of your peripheral and creating, some rogue, vibe-coded software and so on yet. That does have a time and place in your agency, but not right away. Do that when you're at 6 to 10 clients plus, when you've been working with an industry for a long time. And then we expand services as trust build. We can offer other complementary services, okay, that complement our service as we have it right now, in order to upsell the client to extract more value from the client. Only if it's going to help us make their client more money, not just because we want to make more money in ourselves. It's always the goal of making our clients more money so they stay with us for much longer. And if we have that secondary benefit of being able to upsell them and increase the cash that we're making from them, then great. The priority as an agency is lifetime value. It's retaining clients for as long as we possibly can. So that's the delivery timeline. Now, let's go through the value ladder. Our job isn't just to get one customer. I spoke about this when we went through the niche and we talk about repeat custom. It's to help clients maximize the value of every customer we generate for them. So an example is, with a dentist, we might run an offer for teeth cleaning, which might be £100. And then they're going to upsell to teeth whitening, which is £300. And then to Invisalign, which is £5,000. And then implants, which is £20,000 plus, okay? And so the more we help our clients move up the ladder, the more valuable we are. And so our goal isn't just to get that initial purchase. We want to think about, how can we remarket to these individuals? How can we use AI to reach back out to these individuals? And how can we ascend them up the ladder? Now, as we get more established as an agency, you're actually going to get involved in consulting the business as a whole. You won't just be running their AI lead generation system. You'll be getting involved in helping them improve the way they handle the meetings you book for them. You'll be getting involved in how they can improve the way they position their products on their website and in their wider marketing. We want to get as involved in the clients that we work with as we possibly can. The more involved we are, the more value we create for them and the more value we create as a business. Now, we must set expectations very, very clearly. From day one, expectations are so important. We've got to under-promise and over-deliver. Most agencies have this the other way around. They promise a result, which is actually far more than they can generate. And then even if you do a good job for the client, let's say you promise 20 new clients to your client and you generate 15. Well, 15 might be really profitable, but because you said you generated 20, now the client's disappointed because they'd misaligned expectations because you over-promised and under-delivered. Under-promise and over-deliver. This is something we can learn from all the great companies. Apple are famous for this. When you order something from Apple, it says, hey, your delivery date is on the 10th, and it turns up on the 6th. That is by design. It's baked into the business to under-promise and over-deliver. So you have these little delights when you actually get that phone earlier. And you think, wow, what a great company Apple are. But they knew they were going to get it to you on the 6th the whole time. So there's a big misconception that, hey, if I promised a bigger result, then I'm going to sign more clients. No. All you're doing is setting clients up for disappointment later down the line when they don't get exactly what you promised. We also have to communicate consistently. Communication is actually, outside of results are baseline. We have to get our clients' return on investment. But communication is the second most important thing in service delivery. Okay, we must be accessible to our clients. I mean, you might have your clients in a WhatsApp group where they can speak to you on the phone. We still do that. We're an agency that makes over $250,000 every single month, and we still have our clients in WhatsApp groups so they can access us on our personal mobiles. Okay, we do weekly reports. Okay, if the client wants it, we will send them a report of all of the data. Do monthly calls with the client just to catch up with them. Sometimes it's just a social call. We even have dinners with the clients to build relationships with them. Communication is absolutely everything. We need to feel accessible to the clients we work with, especially when they need us and they want to get hold of us. Now, if you do this, clients will stay with you for years. We're working with clients that have been with us for over 5 years in the business. And they're the clients that are going to say, why would a client who's been with you for 5 years leave you? They're just not going to. There's nothing any other agency could offer them that would make them tempted to move from you. And so now we have a very stable business, which also makes the agency very valuable if we ever want to sell the company to venture capital or an investor or another agency that's doing roll-ups. All right. So I think that's service delivery for now. We're going through a lot today. I asked you to get the coffee. I hope the caffeine's kicking in. I hope you got the notepad. I hope you're full of notes right now. Although you kind of don't need the notepad because you can get this notion by entering the competition. I'll remind you of that in a moment. But I've given you the complete roadmap today. And as I said at the start, the reality is most people will do nothing with that roadmap. But you're still here, you're still watching this, and that tells me that you're different. So here's my challenge to you. My challenge to you is a 7-day challenge. And I'm going to challenge you to sign your first client within 7 days from now, from today. And here's exactly what I want you to do. Day 1 to 2, so over the next couple of days, set your foundations, set your financial goal. Use that lifestyle calculator, know exactly what you're working towards. Choose your approach, be that scattergun for the majority of you. Define your ICP, your ideal customer profile. Create your offer statement, your basic one. You can change it later, it's fine. And sort your brand out. Spend a maximum of 2 days doing that. Day 3, start lead generation. Generate 200 to 500 leads. Format them in a spreadsheet and prepare for outreach. You'll definitely be able to do this if you do this via software. It might take you 2 days if you're doing this manually to generate that first batch of leads. Then we're going to go 4 to 6 outreach and sales. Make 25 dials per day. That's 100 total over the time period. Send 50 emails per day. That is 200 total over that time period. 50 DMs per day, 200 total. We're going to book 3 to 5 meetings. We're going to conduct meetings using that CPS strategy. Watch the other video that I've put in here and sign 1 to 2 clients in that period. Okay, this is not an overstatement. This is not an under-promise and an over-deliver. You can absolutely achieve this, and we see this time and time again with agencies that actually dedicate themselves to the craft. And the result is $500 to $1,000 per month in reoccurring revenue. That's not just this month, but it's next month as well if you generate results in just 7 days. And then we just rinse and repeat. And even better yet, we increase those targets, we increase our output, and we grow faster as a business. And the agency model is so unique in the sense that the more we put in from a time perspective, the more we get out. Not all businesses work like that. There's a lot more to go. There's a lot more moving parts in the majority of businesses. This is a sales-driven industry, and you get rewarded for grit and for graft and for just putting in the work and doing the numbers. So that is my 7-day challenge to all of you guys. Let me know in the comments. Do it. Let me know in the comments exactly how you got on with it, okay? I'm gonna be personally looking out for all of those. Also, let me know in the comments your why. That is how you'll get access to this entire sheet. You can go and study this. You can put it in ChatGPT. You can use it to help with your offer statement. You can use it as context. Create a library of information. Follow me at Jordan Platten on Instagram. DM me the keyword START NOW. Get the free Notion doc from this video, and 1 in 100 will win a free coaching call with a senior member of my team. We'll analyze your situation and we'll build a personal roadmap to help you grow over the next couple of months and give you any answers that you may have that are outstanding beyond this video. Now, your next steps for all of you, option 1, you can go ahead and you can get our help. For those of you that want to take the elevator and not the stairs, you want the fast route and have all the support. If you want me to help you launch an AI lead generation agency and sign your first 10 clients at least, I invite you to click the link in the description. You can book a call with a member of our team, and we will create a custom roadmap for you and work with you one-to-one until you're successful. We will guide you through every single step of the process that we've gone through today, and you'll also be in a community of other successful agency owners to elevate your presence to make sure that your environment is great. If you want to have the fastest route and you want to make sure you don't waste time succeeding. And that's for those of you that want the highest chance of succeeding, that want to get ahead and understand that we can't waste time here. This is a race. AI is a race in any industry that you're in. Everyone wants a slice of AI, and we can't afford to waste 6 months going down the wrong path. And so if you've got cash to invest, feel free to book a call with a member of our team and we can explore whether or not this is suitable for you. If you don't have budget right now and you want to just continue learning while watching YouTube videos like this, that is absolutely fine. There's no shame in that. There's a lot of valuable information on this channel. It's always been my mission to give more away for free than other people would have you pay for, and I will continue to do that. Throughout this video, I've referenced other tutorials, our CPS framework, the clay.com lead generation tutorial. I didn't even mention that, but I'll put that in the description. Email outreach, AI lead gen service delivery training, and there's a bunch more that I haven't mentioned right now. All the links will be in the description. Watch them all and take action, because remember, above anything else, knowledge is worthless without implementation. So get started today, subscribe for more, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.